You're muted. You're muted, good sir. We can't hear you. Hello and welcome back, everybody, to Technical Difficulties.
All right, now I had to wait because, like, long story short, the countdown started again for me late. So I was watching the countdown just now,
Oh, how
and you couldn't
interesting.
hear me. It was so weird.
We're never
But we're
late,
back.
people, by the way. We always begin
We're,
precisely when we mean to, at
it's true.
17:01.
We're back on another exciting episode of Starfleet So Hail, where we have a casual and informal conversation. Very informal, very casual.
Well, sometimes it's more casual and more informal than other times. Let's put it that
It's
way.
true. It's true. And today I am, even though I still have wretched allergies, I am not wearing my fake persona like that freaked everyone out.
Yeah, yeah. It's nice to see your true face. I
Thank you.
appreciate
You
it.
will see that fake persona again. By the way, I hope you don't mind. There will be times where he'll have to help out.
I my only hope is that it improves. As time passes, maybe they can update it somewhat.
I think it's always gonna seem a little creepy and weird
Well, yeah, it's got a
because
bit of jank to it, but I mean,
yeah, it's true. Uh, no more fake so hail.
indeed.
It can happen. All right, so Toddy, this is the moment we've all been waiting for, is to get your reaction.
I was supposed to guess. What? Excuse me? Like, for a moment there, I was like, they got the Mandalorian in this episode, because clearly that's the Billups vibe they were going for.
This episode was really fun. I can't wait to dive into it with you. But do you want to do the episode summary, or shall I take care of it?
No, you do it. You do it. You do it.
All right. So all season, we've been seeing Mariner kind of doing adventures that are a little risky. At the beginning of this episode, she 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 and the crew are helping do some repairs on a research facility where they study venomous tremble lizards. And I don't know what it is with lower decks, but they're really good at these really cute but dangerous creatures. We
Yeah,
have Moopsie.
they decided early on, clearly, none of our dangerous creatures will look dangerous.
They will not know. Moopsie, which literally sucks out your bones, super cute.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have these tremble lizards, which to me they look like birds or something like that, like cockatiels, or I don't know, like parrots, but I guess they're lizards. And that was like a anyways, Mariner, so they're down at this research station, and suddenly the shield that keeps the tremble lizards out goes down, and so Mariner volunteers to go out into the tremble lizard danger zone and repair the shield. And after she does, she comes back in, and they've got all their venom suits on, and they all think it's safe. So the main research guy, who, what does he say? He says, "I'm in an academic romance with these lizards." But then as soon as the thing went down, he was like, "Oh no, they're gonna kill us all!" Whatever. He takes off his thing, and Mariner's like, "Do you guys have something? Because like I feel like something's off on me." And she turns around, and there's this like tremble lizard that jumps on the guy. So good, so good. Anyways, we go back to Cerritos, and everyone except Mariner, all our lower deckers except Mariner, get called in to a meeting with Captain Freeman. And she's like, "What the heck's going on with my daughter? Why is she trying to constantly kill herself?" And they're all like, "Well, we've noticed the same thing too." So they're like, oh, "Okay, well, I'm going to send you guys on this like kind of low stakes mission to repair a buoy while we go off to find one of these guys here, one of the people on this list, which is going to be Nick Locarno." And you notice Beverly was on there too, and this would be the time where she's missing, so it's kind of a cool thing that she's on that list because she's out there with Jack, raising Jack. We all thought maybe we would, see her or something like that. Anyways, so she sends them off to go look at this buoy, and they convince Mariner that it's going to be dangerous and stuff like that. While they go off to the planet Axton to try to find Nick Locarno. Well, it turns out that the buoy planet, the buoy ends up being a dangerous spot to be because while they're there working on it, they're attacked by a Klingon bird of prey. One of the Klingon bird of preys that was stolen earlier. It's the same bird of prey as it was from Wedge 2. So while they're being chased by this bird of prey in their shuttle, just in the nick of time, they beam down to the planet before they're blown up. And while they're on the planet, they discover all the captains of these vessels have been placed there to fend for themselves and fight amongst each other, basically. And so we get to see all these. So we're kind of seeing more of what's going on. Meanwhile, the Cerritos pulls up to the planet Axton, hoping to get in, but they're treated like, kind of like, nah, you can wait, whatever, your Federation, like, oh, whatever, like, everyone's kind of just like keeping them at bay or whatever. But in the meantime, there's this badass.
It's funny because, like, the Federation, in a sense, they kind of act as like the police force. No, well, Starfleet rather acts as kind of like the police force of the Federation and of their own territories, but they don't have like high authority to just barge in, and you know what I mean. They have to still like respect the rules and the customs and whatever. So it's just funny to see them like just the bouncer just won't let them in, basically. Like no.
Yeah, no, exactly. I see in the audience Jill's having inclement weather. It looks like so. Don't worry, Jill. Hopefully. Excuse me. Hopefully you can stick around in the chat, but if not, we'll see you later. Anyways, bounty hunter dude gets in with no problem. I loved all the gags, like where they were like trying really hard, but then they just like let bounty hunter dude in, and then finally they get in and they confront the information broker.
Who's not a puppet.
I love that scene so much because in TOS, of course, that is a puppet.
But not here. But it adds context to TOS. He didn't just randomly invent something. He was imitating an actual species or an actual life form. You know what I mean?
It's so true.
This whole thing, by the way, gave me... do you watch Disenchantment?
No, what is that?
Disenchantment is the Matt Groening show that's on Netflix.
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, it's like a fantasy show. They go to like Steamland at some point, which is like a steampunk themed kind of city. And there's like all of these puppets, and there's a whole bunch of, I don't know, there's a circus there, and for some reason this whole thing gave me mad Disenchantment vibes.
That's funny. Well, I was cracking up because sorry I keep yawning. I swear I'm not tired. But I was cracking up so much in the scene. She's lifting him up, and he's got the little skinny arms and legs, and then Rutherford sees through it. He's like, no, he's got bones and organs.
He's like, he's got a whole bunch of different organs. Well, yeah.
So anyways, he ends up being like, well, I wasn't going to give this information to anyone, but now you pissed me off so much, I'm going to give it to anyone but you. And so he sells it to the bounty hunter. So they're totally dejected. Meanwhile, where was I? Oh yeah. So meanwhile, on the planet, which was called, what was it called? It was like Sherbal 4 or whatever. But anyways, on the planet, Mariner's like trying to, again, get into like danger and stuff, and the crew's like the rest of the lower deckers like, let's play it safe. So while they're napping or sleeping to wait for the next day, she sneaks away, and she ends up meeting the commander of the Klingon bird of prey, the actual commander, and they get into a fight. And then this cool planet starts raining down knives. Basically, it's like glass rain or whatever that's shaped like knives, which is pretty cool concept, and also based on actual possibilities, which is really neat. Like, there's
Doesn't it
probably
rain ice in one of our planets?
I think so, or one of our planet's moons. If
Well,
I'm not
something in our
mistaken.
solar system. There's a
Something
rock
in
out
our
there
solar system, yeah,
where it
exactly.
rains
Where it rains ice.
diamonds. No, it rains diamonds. I think it is.
Oh, that's not here. That's like that's an exoplanet, perhaps, that they've discovered,
I
where it
wouldn't
might
want to
actually
live
rain
there.
diamonds. No, I know you die, like you get cut up, and
Yeah.
that would be it. No.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it starts raining, and so they have to go into a cave. Haha, from our last episode. So they have to hide out for a little bit. And during this time, she and the captain of the Klingon vessel kind of connect. He's like, Starfleet's not really as without honor as we like to.
Cake is mocking me. It does rain ice on our planet. It's hail.
But
That's
true.
but I meant diamond
That's
when I meant ice. I meant diamond. That's what.
Yeah, that's like slang for diamonds is ice, right?
Yeah.
So it'd be raining ice.
It don't rain Rolexes, but like
Ooh, it don't rain Rolexes, but it could. There could be a planet out there where it rains Rolexes. Can you imagine like the weird conditions it would have to be to like naturally form a Rolex in the clouds and then have it rain down on people?
Not an actual Rolex. You just mean like the shape of it.
No, like an actual Rolex, like with the working parts and everything. Could you imagine?
That would be
it was so wild.
The improbable nature of that.
This is one of the best scenes, I think, in the episode, maybe even in the whole season, where we find out that, we get this kind of reason behind why Mariner has been acting the way that she has. And she recalls her friend Ensign Sito, who Sito apparently was at the academy with Mariner. So it's a really great scene because at first, she's talking about how like Sito sacrificed herself. There's just been war. And, it's like the kind of lament that it's very meta because even Star Trek fans like myself, for example, are always like, come on, let's get back to exploring. Enough of the big bad wars all the time. But of course you can't help the times that you live in. If there's wars. But one of the things that the Klingon commander says, which was really kind of changes Mariner's perspective and kind of wakes her out of this like funk, but also which was really poignant, was like Sito died to protect the explory stuff, to protect all of that. And so she wouldn't be very proud of Mariner, who here is kind of giving up on all that stuff. And so it was a really good scene, and he was right, and Mariner ends up hugging him. They don't finish their fight, but they go back out and they meet up with the other commanders who are still fighting, and Mariner manages with her new kind of like resolve to sway everyone into kind of banding together and going after the bastards who did this to them. And so she rallies, but then she gets beamed away back on the planet. And this is kind of cool how they edited it to happen like similarly. We find out that the cool ass bounty hunter was Billups all along, and that sorry, 1 second, Toddy, I hate when that happens.
Ridiculous.
All right, there we go. Hopefully that'll stop that. Okay, so at the same time as they're going to go find out where Nick Locarno is hiding out, and they discover Captain Freeman and the crew discover the design of the ship.
The original Tom Paris.
The original Tom Paris, or well, we could call him fake Tom Paris, but anyways.
It was the originally copyrighted Tom Paris, so they had to invent someone else basically. Isn't that how it went?
Oh yeah, because they were gonna use Nick, right?
They were gonna use Nick, and then they were like,
right,
but we can't, right? Because like we gotta pay You got to pay a man to do that. So screw that.
But yeah. Ugh. Anyways, so as they're
Yeah,
discovering,
Mariner's got Vulcan blood at this point. Like, come on, she's old. No, I think we came to the conclusion she was like 32, 34, something like that.
something like that, yeah. So as they're discovering that Nick is behind the starship, the mysterious ship, on the mysterious ship, we see Mariner waking up, and she's like, "What in the hell is this? Like modern nightmare, or minimalist nightmare?" And then the door opens, and there he is, Nick Locarno himself, played by Ravi Duncan McNeil, who's also played Tom Paris on the same show. Yeah, so there's the summary. And he's like,
Because
let's go
basically
to
oh no, I guess he's maybe a little older than Tom Paris, Nick Locarno, but he's grayed out a lot more in the show than how they portrayed Tom Paris. Tom Paris was a little younger looking.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's true. Well, tell us your opening thoughts while I blow my nose.
So I think I saw this comment go by. Someone was talking about how they were kind of pissed off at like Mariner's attitude throughout the season. And I guess that was a sentiment that, you know, it doesn't corrupt my opinion on each episode, but it's always kind of there. Like, okay, Mariner's still acting up. She's still doing this. She's still doing that. And it was very, very satisfying to finally have like the beginning of a resolution here. I mean, if they were to leave it, I'm pretty sure they're going to do more because we had the to be continued, so they'll do more about this. But even if they didn't do more here, we at least have like a resolution where she talks about the issues. Not only do we better understand where she's coming from, but also like she actually worked it out a lot, and probably gained a newly hugging Klingon friend in the, you know, at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And then just generally speaking, the episode itself, this was one of the funner ones in the season. I mean, honestly, it was hype because it was a part one, but also like the whole Freeman kind of gambit plot of having Billups acting, you know, cool so that he could get into all of these different places to get the information, that worked so well for me. The reveal of Nick Locarno, like the reveal of who's been the villain, was interesting, and just the I don't know, there's the all of the different species, you know, hanging out or fighting it out
like,
on the planet. That was really
it was kind
really
of like
cool.
the chase a little bit with all the different species. Kind of reminded me of that, you know, a little bit at the end where they're like, you know, pitted against each other, but then seeing the seeing the progenitor makes them kind of all for a moment like, you know, realize, oh, maybe we could work together or whatever. But you know, in this case, it's, I mean, I don't know, it just reminded me of that because they were all gathered, but really there's not really any similarities.
Well, they're all together on a planet, basically.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. But yeah. So yeah, that was cool.
No, it was very very solid. So I wasn't expecting any sort of like part one or to be continued, because like the episodes have completely different names. Like this one is The Inner Fight, and the other one has a completely other name. So I went in, but like, you know,
Old
halfway,
Friends, New Planets.
so halfway through, you're like, okay, they need to come to a conclusion pretty quick. And then once you're 3/4 of the way through, you're like, oh no, this is bigger, because they're not getting through this.
Jill in the audience says Mariner did a the Void kind of thing. Which episode is the Void?
The Void.
Of Voyager?
The Void.
What
What's the
episode?
Void?
I think I missed that one.
Is the Void the place where it's just total blackness?
Jill says probably not. Could be season 7. So
And they have to go through like this piece of empty space, and it makes everyone crazy or some shit. Or is it 7 of 9 that has to deal with it all by herself? I think.
I have no idea. I have not seen this episode.
Yeah. So Nick,
yeah.
Okay. So it was cool to have like the little shout outs, Nick Locarno and Beverly Crusher, and Tom Riker. Who was the other one? There was 4. Someone else. I didn't expect to see any of these people, though. In my mind, I was like, they didn't choose people that aren't necessarily around. You know what I mean? So maybe we can see them. But yeah, no, it was fun, and then of course he comes back. Everyone comes back in this show. It's crazy. Everyone comes back to Lower Decks.
No, it's true. So let's break down the episode a little bit. What did you think of, like, as far as the penultimate episode goes? What was your favorite? Like, what was your favorite scene in the? I already told you my favorite.
Oh, I understand what they're talking about. The Void is not the episode where it's different. The Void is different. The Void is like an anomaly where ships get trapped inside, and so the Voyager gets trapped inside the Void, and basically it's constant warfare because you can only live off the resources that are in the Void because nothing grows in it. So basically every new ship is like,
oh, don't spoil it, is what Joel's saying. So
I'm not spoiling it, but
okay.
New ship is new bait. That's it.
Oh, okay. Hey, Mrs.
Henry's
Powell
a
family's
boss,
in the
by the
audience. So cool. Mrs. Powell family says, have we already talked about the Ferengi episode being the catalyst to Mariner's breakdown? And we actually, no, we haven't talked about it. I felt like Mariner, does she start breaking down in that episode? Is that the first one? Because she does have like a moment there, but I feel like it's been something she's been dealing with for a while. But yeah, the Ferengi episode was definitely one of the points where I remember she has her friend Quimpy. Was it Quimp? Quimp. I almost called him Quimpy. Oh, hold on. Someone won't stop.
Well, she doesn't really resolve. Okay, so in that episode, she doesn't resolve things herself so much as she gets, I guess, truths laid down to her by her friend, right?
Right.
And he I guess he does initiate the kind of like self-reflection, I guess, where he's like, you need to look at yourself and look at like the context of your actions and try to understand like why you're doing them and what good is going to come from them or what bad.
Yeah, it's true. But yeah, I guess they did mention it in this episode. Mrs. Powell says, Trev's in the audience. He says, the Void, when Voyager writers got tired of coming up with clever names for voids and trapping Voyager. That's pretty funny. I did not expect to see Nick Locarno ever again in Star Trek. So that was a moment that was like really great. The way I think they did such a good job, and especially after watching this season with you, like I think they did such a good job at keeping this like completely a shock. Like you would never have guessed who's behind it, and you know, intentionally, of course.
At some point, just before the reveal, I was like, "Is it going to be Daniels, like Agent Daniels, like the time shenanigan guy?" Like I was like, "What?"
Man, you really have to catch up on some of your Star Trek. Is all I gotta say, because you're mentioning.
You mean Discovery?
Yeah, you. Oh, you already know. You already.
No,
know?
I don't know. But
okay,
I'm assuming the only season I haven't seen is Discovery. So
okay,
yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Also, this is kind of a cool story in real life because infamously they didn't do Nick Locarno. They did Tom Paris because at least they didn't really have to pay royalties or whatever it is. Having him here means that they did ultimately.
Right.
So even if it isn't for like a long running character,
a right has been wrong. Wrong has been righted, is what you're saying.
Someone got paid a bit for that, so that's pretty cool.
And Robbie Duncan McNeil gets to play two different characters on his show, just like everyone else has like a.
Yeah, everyone else gets.
Do you think? I guess since you haven't seen the next episode, right?
No.
What do you think Boimler's reaction is going to be when he sees Nick Locarno? Is he going to think that's Tom?
He doesn't have collectible plates.
Do you think they're going to do a gag about it? Is what I want to say. I guess.
I don't know. Now you're asking me, so now I doubt it. I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't think that they would go that meta and make a joke about it.
I don't want to spoil it. It's gonna be
Okay.
fun though. Whatever comes up. What about the Billups thing? Did you see that one coming, or did you think it was someone on the crew like the whole time, or did you also get surprised by the?
No, I
the
was
bounty
very
hunter?
surprised by it. Like because I was so fixated with the like, it's clearly the Mandalorian. You know what I mean? Like this is Mando, or maybe not. Like it was one of the like the Western type, vibes that they got going on in Mandalorian. So I didn't. Oh, that's right, Captain Proton.
Yeah, that would
He
be
can play
cool.
everyone. Yeah, I would love some Queen Arachnia. Anyway, no, I
But yeah,
didn't.
going back to
I didn't see it coming, and it was very clever. It was a very clever plan. Did he?
Yeah,
speak,
Carol's
Did he speak?
a
Did he
good.
speak weird though when he took the thing off?
I think because he was just a little tired from being under the mask or whatever, so he's kind of
Okay.
his voice was a little off. But
I felt like
inside,
he had
of
like an
course,
accent.
no, I think I don't remember. I don't
Okay.
know. I mean, I just watched it, so I'm not sure.
Okay.
But I don't recall anything quite that different.
Hmm.
But yeah, so those were the two big things that I had in my notes, because that was like probably the most fun thing. Also, I was gonna say Carol's quite a she's become quite a strategist. That Carol Freeman, she's like she got some good ideas.
Oh yeah.
In the audience. Oh, go ahead.
No, I very much like. I've always felt like, in a weird way, Rutherford is. I don't want to say the most adult of the four, but I feel like he's the readiest to be like a commanding officer, or kind of like in the big leagues, away from the lower decks.
Who?
Rutherford.
Oh, really?
I've always felt kind of that way. I don't know why, but here it was. I liked seeing him with Shax and Freeman. Like the dynamic was good and it worked, and like you understand that he is like low ranking, right? But I feel like he contributed to the overall dynamic, so I liked it.
Yeah, 100%. I love this comment from Mrs. Powell, Miss Powell family. Love the Carol Freeman competence this season. Someone said in another forum that now that Carol and Mariner are in a better place, that Carol can focus on her job. Yeah, I agree with that. That's totally true. Rutherford appears to be older, like
there's something
Mariner.
that they've stopped doing with the writing, that like in the first few seasons they would either make Freeman make a mistake, or she would, there would be, yeah, you guys mentioned incompetence. I guess it's incompetence, but it was I guess to serve a joke, right? It was for a gag. But sometimes you have to be careful, because sometimes a gag isn't worth, like, I guess, taking away from your character. And so she's stopped being the butt of the joke, right? Like the show is no longer funny at the expense of Freeman in certain situations, and I think that's a win. Because even on the most rickety ass ship, you know what I mean, a Starfleet captain is a Starfleet captain. You know what I mean? You can't just get to that position randomly.
Yeah, 100%. That's true. So now you've kind of seen the whole season, and again, we still have one episode left. Next week, I'm so excited. We're gonna do our season finale episode next week.
I will have
But
seen the Lower Decks.
you'll finally have caught up with one of the Star Trek shows.
One of the so now the Boys is coming out now, so the Dragon is coming out. So there's a lot going on.
Yeah, you got to catch up with Discovery before I do my finale discussion. Maybe
Oh my god,
you can
Jesus.
hop in on that. But Toddy, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so now that you've kind of seen the season, and like you've seen Nick Locarno's kind of the beginnings of his plan, which is he's gotten all these lower deckers basically to mutiny against all these captains. So I guess my next question is, where do you think all this is heading? What kind of trouble do you think Nick Locarno wants to get in with Mariner. What do you think he's up to?
He's got beef with authority. I don't know.
Yeah, let's
Like,
review. Yeah, so like Nick's life.
he lives on the edge, right?
Well, yeah, he's not in
He's
Starfleet. He got booted out of Starfleet, right? Basically.
well,
So he's
when he
been
was in
working as this
Starfleet,
like
when he was in
pilot for
Starfleet,
hire.
he was
What's
it was when he was in Starfleet, he was about the thrills, right? I
Mhm.
guess, or maybe not. Maybe he was about being the best no matter the cost.
I think that's one of the things, yeah, for
Okay,
sure.
because he pushed his flight team to like the absolute limit, and of course that had a cost. And then he's kind of ruthless because he stopped at nothing to cover it up and to make sure that, you know, he was fine. So but then like he got caught. So maybe he's very resentful about like that.
I appreciate the audience is so
Maybe.
sensitive to
I
you
know
not
everyone's
getting
just talking
spoiled.
about
I
how they're
love
not going to spoil it. Maybe he's got maybe okay, this would be really meta but stupid but cool. Maybe Nick Lacano has beef with Tom Paris because he got replaced as a character. That was my show.
That would be pretty funny.
Strolls up to
Interesting,
Balana. That
Toddy.
was my wife.
That should have been my wife. You stole my life. That would be really funny.
My dad was supposed to be proud of me.
But so I mean, I think I can't say anything obviously because I know, but I think you're gonna be in for some
Ooh.
pleasant and fun surprises.
So his ship looks a bit timey-wimey, maybe. It looks a little time travel-ish or dimension hopping-ish. I don't know, like, yeah, it's got like a funky color to it, I found, and a funky design.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, I like what Mariner says. What does she say? It's what is this modernist nightmare or something like that? It's a minimalist nightmare. It has some interesting designs behind. Yeah, it's an interesting looking ship. I don't know.
I don't know.
What in the minimalist hell? That's what what Mariner had actually said.
But then it feels now that I look at it, it does feel Delta Flyer-ish.
Oh, like the two characters would have come up with the same kind of idea. You're right. It does have a shape.
Well, they're both pilots.
It has that
and,
kind of silhouette.
Kind of, yeah.
They are both. Well, like you said, they're basically essentially supposed to be the same character, but they were like, you know, issues.
It's so cool that like canon, or I guess like the storytelling, the lore of Star Trek has now branched these off into different directions, and you know, they're really characters of their own now. You know what I mean?
Right.
Fine, we've had 7 seasons of Tom Paris, and like maybe there'll be 2 episodes of Nick, but like 3 with the next one. But yeah, I like that. I like the idea of having them really separate off.
Here's the oh, why isn't it working? Okay, here we go. Here's a Delta Flyer.
Okay.
And so yeah, you're right. There's kind of a similar. Let me pull up the lower deck ship.
Season 5. We're not there
Season
yet.
Season 4.
Settle down.
Let's see.
I want you to cover my eyes.
Yeah, no, wait. Let me see if I can get. Well, I'll just pull up this one image here, and we'll put it.
Well, actually, wait, hold on. Stop whatever it is that you're doing.
See, there is a kind of a similar silhouette.
There we go. I'm sharing this. How about that?
Oh, you've got a better. Let's see what you've got.
No, well, you can pull up your Delta Flyer.
It doesn't let me do them both at the same time.
Oh, it doesn't let you do them both?
Okay. But yeah, it has a very similar silhouette. I had not even realized that.
It's really this one. That
Oh
makes
yeah, I
the Delta
agree.
Flyer.
In the chat, there's also a Slave One vibe. Miss Powell family
Mm.
says, yeah. Or what do they call it now? There's a new name for the. They gave it a new name. I forget. They don't want to call it Slave One anymore. Jill, that's a Star Wars reference. It's Boba Fett's.
Well, yeah. It okay. So this whole season, this ship has given me like Star Wars vibes.
Well, and then this planet was very Star Warsy.
And then this
too,
planet
wasn't
was
it?
very Star Warsy too. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
With like, okay, so when they roll up to the planet and they got these people like in like these military uniforms.
In those towers, right?
Yeah, like that was the Empire, right?
And that ship that they
Or the
landed,
First Order, whatever, like which
right,
one?
or
Pick your
whatever. Like it
poison.
just
It's the
had like
same
Star
thing.
Warsy vibes, yeah. And the ship that they roll up in, the shuttle, it
Oh
had
yeah,
a Star Warsy kind of vibe to it as well.
yeah.
So did
Yeah.
the cantina, as a matter of fact, where they meet the information broker.
Mm.
But you know, Star Trek and Star Wars kind of do that thing now. Star Trek, Star Wars is also taking elements that people associate with Star Trek now and kind of mixing it. So whatever, it's all cool.
Oh yeah, no, it's not a complaint at all. But I mean, they comes at like, of course, there's going to be vibes. Like this episode feels a bit more Star Wars. There's probably other episodes that might feel a bit more The Expanse. You know what I mean? So of course,
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what else about this episode in my notes. What else you got in your notes, Toddy? I think we covered just about everything.
Well, you talked about it earlier, but like to drive it home and really make a point about it, it was poignant. The whole thing between the Klingon and Mariner. Like really, like there's a lot of things going on this episode, and a lot of things that I liked, but that was really like a moment for me. Yes, she did it with a stranger rather than like one of her friends, which I guess may be a little disappointing, but at the end of the day, it makes the most sense. Like I feel like she's a character that wouldn't necessarily, and proof is in the pudding. She didn't open up to her friends about
sometimes that happens though. Like you don't know how to talk to your friends about something because you don't know how they're going to react, or you're more sensitive to their reactions. But then, a stranger can provide perspective that maybe your friends can't, which is what happens in to Mariner. Also, I think she kind of was feeling betrayed by her friends at that moment and didn't feel like they could open up. She could open up to them because they kind of were starting to have an intervention with her, and I think she was reacting in a very typical way when people start having interventions, is where they're like, "Oh, I don't want to have this intervention, so I'm gonna like exit stage right."
Interventions are difficult because they need to be done well. Like there needs to be a certain precision to them, and there needs to be like a very deep understanding of the context. Like in this particular case, her friends couldn't have intervened in any, I guess, correct manner because they didn't have the full context of like where her troubles were coming from or what was going on. You know what I mean?
They just knew she was reckless, and
that's it. They didn't know really like the depth of like her trauma and how she felt about all this. So she very much like Dax, I feel she has kind of like a connection to Klingon culture in a lot of regards. And so it's actually pretty nice that they had like a Klingon come in because she is, the honor and everything, and she likes kind of the nobleness about it. And I know that within the context of the episode, it was about the fighting and the sacrifice. They talk about Sto-vo-kor, but no, it makes sense. Like for this character in particular to be like, you're not necessarily honoring your friend here by doing this or acting the way you act. She wouldn't have wanted this, but it adds something to that person wouldn't have wanted this is a very easy thing to say. It might be a go-to phrase now, but when it comes from like a Klingon, it has like an embellished meaning, I find.
Oh, one thing I forgot to mention in my summary, and that you haven't even mentioned. So you're so bad co-host. No, I'm just kidding.
What?
But What I forgot to
demoted.
mention is that after Mariner gets beamed away, of course, there's that wonderful retaking of the Klingon ship action sequence where they all like trick it into exploding the tower, and then they jump in, and Ma'a, the captain, who
When
we
they
all thought,
jump on the ship, it's the coolest thing.
you could totally see that happening in live action. It's like it was such a good sequence. But then Ma'a goes nuts on the usurping captain, and he basically has like, I think he ate his heart out or something. Like, because he's like pink
No.
blood. Oh, did you appreciate that the blood was Pepto-Bismol pink?
Yeah. Well, of course, it needs to be, right? It's
Well,
isn't
no,
it? It's
remember
lavender pink. Is that what they call
lavender
it?
pink in TNG? It's red. Remember, Worf has red.
Yeah, but
red
TNG
blood.
doesn't know shit about canon. You know what I mean? They
Right.
look what they did
Right.
to my
Is that right?
Andorians.
Well,
Dreadful.
to be
Dreadful
fair,
Andorians.
the pink blood was established after TNG started, because that was
it?
established in Star Trek 6.
Oh, that
yeah.
was no. Oh yes, it was 6.
Yes, that is the first time we saw Klingon blood as pink, because I think Star Trek 3 Kruge has red blood.
The Klingons either fall to their deaths or burn in great horror, don't they? Like
Things happen. Things
rather than being stabbed. But yeah, no, fair enough. No, but it's very true that I think we've seen Worf bleed many times, and he didn't have like no fluorescent blood there. But no, I appreciate
it. Jill says we finally know why Klingons sharpen their fangs. It's true. And Ma'a discussion was life-changing for Mariner. Yeah, it's true.
He seems like a very young Klingon captain.
He is. Remember, he's the one that's the guy from Wedge Douche. Remember the young captain in Wedge Douche? Do you remember Wedge Douche?
I remember the episode. I didn't remember like that Klingon specifically. So no, I missed that.
That's the Klingon who takes that ship from the bad captain who was conspiring with the Pakleds, to
glory to his house.
Yes,
seems
glory
like
to his house.
Seems like a good man. Kapla.
Yeah, so these guys will definitely be playing a part in next week's finale as well. So that's,
how dare you spoil these things?
Well, no, we know it because they took back the ship. So it's not a spoiler; it's a speculation. So yeah, the stage is set, Toddy, for a spectacular season finale.
I will ask one, I guess, spoilery question.
I can show them if you ask again from your iPhone.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Silence, computer. No, it's not necessarily a spoiler, but I will ask one thing. In your opinion, the conclusion to this season, does it act as like a season finale simply, or does it act like a show finale?
No, it acts like a season finale, as it should. Because hopefully
they know that, like, they knew that they were going into season 5 when they were writing this and doing all this.
Right, but they didn't know at all that season 5 would be the last. They've finished season 5, and then it was announced that there would be no season 6.
Okay.
So unfortunately, we don't know how this.
Okay. Well, that means they probably had time to adjust, like, the way they've structured season 5, and been able to finish it accordingly.
Like I said, the season 5 was finished in the can, done, and then Paramount announced that.
No, but are you talking about the writing, or are you talking about like all of it, like all production? They produced all of the episodes.
Like, yeah, everything was done, and then that's when Paramount announced that season 5 was the last. Like, they didn't know, but I think I think Mike McMahon may have had an idea, because you know how, like, typically we've known like, okay, so we already knew we were getting a season 5, but usually during season 4, like sometimes during season 4, they usually will tell you Lower Decks or whatever show has been renewed for a 6th season or whatever, you know?
Yeah, and if they don't announce it, then it's like it's bad news, basically.
That's kind of like everyone was waiting for Prodigy's announcement and we didn't get it, but
People are
but-
still waiting for the Orville.
you're still
It's like, okay,
But yeah, so unfortunately, Lower Decks season 5.
that's
Was
the
already
Disney
done.
technique. You don't cancel it. You just pretend it doesn't exist, and people will eventually forget about it, right?
Yeah, no one's gonna forget about Lower Decks. I can guarantee you that.
No,
But yeah,
that's for sure.
I hope it's not a cliffhanger. I agree with Jill in the audience.
They
So
couldn't do
yeah,
that.
I
They
hope it's
couldn't
not a
they couldn't
cliffhanger.
finish the show on a cliffhanger, unless they really want to roll into a movie. But then I don't know.
I think Lower Decks is gonna get picked up, hopefully, like Prodigy did, on another network. I'm really
Feels like
hopeful.
I like at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter who's making it and who's releasing it. I don't care as long as I can see it and it's new stuff coming out. I'm happy, but it is a bit messy to have all of these shows just be all over the place. It's a shame. It's like just the House of Star
agree.
Trek, right? Keep it in your home.
Nah, but you know what?
Eh.
Star Trek. I don't mind if Star Trek's on other networks. I just want more Star Trek. So
I mean, yeah, at the end of the day.
more of this Star Trek, in other words. So to me, it's kind of there is a hope. Haven't heard much on the other side about it, but we'll see what happens. And certainly, we're all anticipating season 5 and what it's going to be like. But we still have one more episode of this season to go. So Toddy, if
Starfleet
there's-
Academy coming too. Eh?
yeah, Academy's coming, which is cool because I was really digging the 32nd Century, and so I'm really glad. By the way, did you see Paul Giamatti got cast as
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
the main villain? Yeah, it's pretty cool. We have Holly Hunter and Paul Giamatti. It's pretty rad. Who are they going to announce that next? Like Brad Pitt is in Star Trek? That would be awesome too.
I think people don't like Brad Pitt anymore.
Wow. All right. Oh, my little cat is here looking so sweet. I wish you guys could see him.
We don't know who's buying Paramount now. Worrisome.
I thought it was that Skydance company.
No, that fell. It didn't work out.
All right. Well, alas. So, closing thoughts and ratings. I will just say again, another banger episode of Lower Decks.
Banger. It's a bop.
Banger. It's a boom. So this episode gets a 10 out of 10.
A 10. It's incredible.
10. It's a 10. Yeah.
That's very low for you. I give it an 8.
That's very high for you.
That is.
No, just kidding. That's very good.
No, I think it's good. I think it's very good. So I've often mentioned this. I feel like Star Trek has historically had trouble with two-parters because often if the first part slaps, the second part kind of falls flat. Or if, the other way around, like sometimes the first part is kind of wonky, but then the conclusion is really, really cool. It doesn't necessarily apply to everything. And I think recently we've had a couple of two-parters that have been pretty solid all around. With this, I'm worried. And then technically, it's like a long story, but it's not a 2-part episode because it's not in a fight part 1 and a fight part 2. It has a different type.
Yeah, so technically it's not.
Technically it's not. But I'm very hyped to see the conclusion of this. I usually wait until I'm closer to the conversation, but maybe I'll watch it. Maybe I'll watch it sometime soon. Maybe I'll have to watch it twice. I'll watch it like now-ish, and then I'll watch it again when we get closer to next week's conversation. How about that?
That sounds good.
Or maybe I can like watch it now-ish, and then I can rewatch both episodes back to back before the conversation. That way I have like the full spectrum of hype, people.
Whatever floats your boat. I'm just excited for you to see how this season ends. Maybe we can watch it together, Toddy. We can watch
the river of, what's it called? The Klingon river that you float down on the boat. The river of death there? You don't remember that?
I mean, I only know about Tovacor. I don't remember what.
Hold on. Klingon Death River. The River of Blood.
Oh, it's just called the River of Blood.
Apparently. And you're the barge of the dead.
Those Klingons, man.
Yeah, they're just like, yo, they're not very inspired.
The barge of the dead on the river of blood.
Got all
It's all
them
pink.
Klingons. Yeah.
Somehow pink blood doesn't scare me as much.
No,
as
because it's
red.
the blood of their enemies, right? Wouldn't it be?
Oh, so it's like all kinds of colors. Green.
Actually,
blue.
no. Maybe it would be like.
Do
the blood of-
Andorians have blue blood? And
Yeah. Yeah,
they
yeah.
do, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember Ren bleeding. Do you?
No,
Or
but
any of the
your boy
characters?
Shran bleeds.
Oh, he was bleeding blue.
Yeah, he's bleeding blue.
Hmm.
How dare you make me bleed my own blood?
So
Blue.
then, do Orions bleed green? I can't remember seeing Orion blood.
I don't know. I don't think so. No, Vulcans bleed green.
Yes.
Orions don't bleed. They're too cool.
Green, blue, and red makes brown. Yuck.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
they're-
The river of muck. It's just coagulated brownness.
That's
I-
true. Mrs. Powell family points out that the pink
Yeah,
blood
I
is
think
supposed to
it
be less
was-
scary for
It
movie
was for like the
censors
R
and shit.
rating or the PG rating or something. They
Yeah.
couldn't do all the floating blood and everything if it was the right quote unquote color. Good move
It's
though.
true.
I like the good move.
Good. Well, before we end, I just want to take advantage of this opportunity to let the audience know that today is what we celebrate as TQIF. Thank you. It's Friday. So at 8 p.m. tonight on Text Trek, you guys should tune in because they're doing a retrospective on season 1 of Star Trek Prodigy. And season 2 is going to drop on July 1st. So it's around the corner. That's like coming right up. Toddy, you excited? Like 9 days, 10 days from now?
I'm so hyped. I could have seen it in its entire French glory, but I didn't. I refused to.
You waited.
I
I'm so proud of you that you waited. That's a very good
It's
thing
honorable.
because
I'll
it
take
is.
it.
You have proven that you have honor, Toddy. Very nice.
I'm hyped to see the season as it comes out. I assume this is Netflix. They're gonna drop the whole season at once.
Yeah. So all 20 episodes will be available on July 1st. This is the first for Star Trek. I don't think we've ever had a Star
The
Trek
first time
show.
Star Trek.
Where they drop
yeah.
all the.
I'm gonna
episodes.
say it. This is my personal opinion. I would rather one episode come out every week. That way, it's not like a challenge or a fight to see who can see them first, and I don't have to like be dodging and ducking spoilers. I would like to, and I also like the idea, considering Star Trek is often a very high concept or like, talkish. We have to talk about the episode kind of thing. I like the idea of having to talk about it each week. But yeah,
Right.
but hey,
I do. That's
I'll
how we're gonna do
probab-
it on.
I'll probably be binging it.
That's fine. But what we're gonna do on Starfleet So Hail to kind of like help out is we're gonna watch. I mean, I'll probably binge it as well, but we're gonna only do our discussions one episode at a time, just like we do
Okay.
with every show. And what I plan to do
Is this me or is this with someone else?
It could be with you. It should be with you.
Oh,
Why
okay.
not?
I don't know. I'm genuinely asking. I don't know.
We could keep doing them on Fridays, like
Yeah, we
this
could
if
keep
you're
doing that.
around.
We can keep this going on, but it's Prodigy.
Yeah, it'll be Prodigy.
It's
It'll be
the Friday 1701 animated features.
I like it. But then what I'm going to be doing is, so I'll watch the whole season kind of like it's only going to be 5 hours, like in a binge. You could watch pretty much the whole, maybe 10 hours, sorry, or less, but whatever. You can watch the whole season in a day. So I'll watch, the whole season, and then we'll do one episode at a time discussions. Maybe
I'll watch
we'll
them backwards. I'm going to start by the last episode and work my way back.
Please don't do that. Just don't. It's so weird. I mean, you could do it, but I don't know if you'll enjoy yourself. But anyways, what we'll do is every time we talk about it, I'm going to go back and watch the episode.
I'll just watch them
before we
completely
talk
out of
about it.
order, Tarantino style. I'll just choose different episodes. Then
So
I'll
we
have
have
to
our
restructure them in my
discussions.
mind.
So we have our discussions. I'll watch like on episode 2 I'll watch 1 and 2 again. For episode 3 I'll watch 1, 2, and 3, because what I want to do is contribute to as many views as possible for Netflix, so that they
What a shill. Ah,
so that they are
You're
prompted to so that they're prompted to renew for season 3. So
yeah, I
that's
would
what we're
very
gonna do.
much enjoy a good prompting for Netflix. I would like them to be prompted to make many seasons of Prodigy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's see here. Jill says, I'm only up to 107 in my Prodigy rewatch. I hope I remember enough to chime in tonight. Yeah, I think you will. Let's see. Cake binge season 1 already. I have to turn on my Prodigy spoiler suppression, although those don't
Wife
really
on
work,
the
do they?
Wife on the Tube says that no, the hashtag things don't really work because people spell things wrong anyway. But no, Wife on the Tube says we'll be watching Prodigy with
the baby.
daughter. Yeah, with daughter.
With daughter. Yeah, you can't
Yeah.
call her a baby anymore.
Not
Toddler.
really. No, because
With-
she's
older
up,
than toddler too.
she's up to my bloody
Kid on the
up
tube.
to my
I guess
stomach. So
kid.
like,
Wow.
kid
on the tube.
Kid on the Tube. So yeah, and she was very young when season 1 came out. So there was some episodes where she very much enjoyed it, and some episodes where she didn't. It depended on the scenes and what kind of what was going on screen.
Right.
I think that now though, she's at an age where she can really appreciate it. So I'm happy to see that.
Same for my godson.
Dottie.
Dottie.
No, Dottie.
My godson was when the diviner shows up, he couldn't watch it anymore the first time. He got too scared. So now I think he's old enough where he'll be able to handle it better.
I do think she was a little put off, or by that.
Yeah, well, I mean,
and interestingly, she wasn't hype about like the action sequences. Like when it was fighting and explosions, she wasn't that into it. But she really liked it when like the characters sat down and talked.
And talked. Oh, very cute.
Well, and of course, like the problem-solving thing with like we need to get the fox across the river and the chicken and what have you. Yeah. That in a sense resembles, I guess, tonally, the shows that they watch when they're kids.
Yeah, that's true. Very nice. I'm excited to hear to get like the daughter's perspective when we do our discussions. That'll be very cool.
Indeed.
All right. Toddy, do you have anything else to promote or talk about before we head off into our sunset for this week?
The sunset? No, I have nothing. Well, I have this to promote. I have Fridays
Excellent.
to promote.
Fridays!
So,
woo!
Yay for Fridays.
Yeah. I just want to give a shout out to some folks out there, The Salon, Strange New Pod, Track Yards, and Jessie Gender just announced that her movie's coming out, so that's gonna be really cool. She made a whole movie.
I was trying to figure that out. I was like, is this like a long video? And I'm like, no, it's a movie.
No, it's a movie. She made a movie with John Delancey's in the movie, among others. Yeah, it's very cool.
What?
So everyone check that out.
Nuts.
If you're in the audience and you haven't already done so, please smash the like button. Consider subscribing and sharing. And that's all we got. Live long and prosper, everybody. And we will see you next time. Woo!